Hey guys, this is SF and welcome to Impossible Mondays. This week it is going to be Kushinada, and I am going to bring this week's new transition, which is Brahma. And if you didn't see the Monster of the Week video yet, then he gets a Wood Slayer on his Gate Shot, and then he gets a Super Blast, not Super Blast, Giga Blast on his Sub Bump, and everything else is pretty much the same as the Send at Brahma. And as for my other monsters, I didn't really care which other monsters. I just like go random because Kushinada is relatively easy now, so you can basically bring one Izanami 0 and then Brahma, and then it should be okay in my opinion. And I kind of wanted to make an excuse to actually bring a Destroyer, which has both no Gravity Barrier and no Warp, and he's also a Flight as well. And he's also a Flight, and you know, triple no abilities is pretty good, but you know, people don't really use them that much because there's no dungeon that has all three gimmicks in there, in my opinion. I guess Marishi has 3 gimmicks, but of course Destroyer doesn't have a no damage wall. But you can avoid 1 or 2, and then you'll be still be able to deal with it. But Brahma, for people who don't really know about history of Monster Strike, I guess, when Kushinada came up first, Brahma was, I think, like top 3 monsters for that dungeon. Of course, the other top 2 being Noma and Izanami, and this was before Gilgamesh even came in as well. So basically the timeline actually went, so Noma, Izanami pretty much came before Kushinada, and then during the time Kushinada came out, Hattori Hanzo came, and you know, he has, you know, the double nulls for this dungeon, no Gravity Barrier, no Warp, relatively good, but you know, people didn't really like him that much. And then afterwards Brahma came, and that was the next event series. Brahma came, and then people started using Brahma, and it's pretty much for one reason, and that is the nuke onto his from his strike shot for the last bar. People didn't have enough damage to take down the last bar with her crazy HP. Like, you know, for some people that have been playing since day 1 for like the global version, 4 Izanamis is a little iffy in terms of damage for that last bar. Even if you have all the meteor strike shots up, it's still cutting it close. So of course Brahma gives you an instant damage. Like Izanami 0, not Izanami 0, like normal Izanami's meteor is only 600k, 600 to 700k, whereas Brahma can go to like 1.5 million. That is actually a giant boost into your damage. So that's why Brahma was more used than Hattori Hanzo. Hattori Hanzo's strike shot didn't really help in much in terms of the damage department, although like the speed up and power up is really good. You really need a perfect horizontal or a vertical to make it work, but you know, you still have to clear off minions and all that stuff, and that immune is not really that useful. The cross laser, if you see it now, is not that great anymore in terms of damage. You've seen pretty much worse in like Yamato Takeru or something like that. So for people who doesn't know, Brahma was like the 3rd most used or 3rd most popular monster when Kushinada was like up there, when Kushinada was up, and it really saved a lot of people's lives and really helped people like win the dungeon, just because of that nuke. Like all the other ones before it didn't have that much damage. Like Hattori Hanzo is just there so that you won't die, but it doesn't mean that you will win with Hanzo. And you know, Izanami's meteor is only good for the mob clearing. It's not really that good for damage. And Roma was basically your damage source, but if you fail if you get caught by the warps on the last stage, then you're pretty much screwed as well. So why not have a no warp monster that can do a lot of damage with a strike shot, And you know, with resistance was really good that time as well to just mitigate stuff. Okay. And this was also before like able berries. This was also before able berries, before cutthroat was ever a thing. So you can't really use cutthroat that much. You can't really use cutthroat at all. And to like take down, I think she has 5-6 million on the last bar, or was it like 8 million? I remember 8 million for the Shadow Golf or something like that. But I don't know, like I didn't really care that much now. But like this was before cutthroat was a thing. So you can't really mitigate, you can't really deal damage that way as well. There's no like survivor, there's no like all those able berries that are actually useful in Kushinada. So you basically have to bring raw power into there, and it was hard. That's why Kushinada was, I guess, somewhat hard, because like all the top players will be like, you know, bring all the Izanamis and then you'll do okay. You'll win like 6 or 7 out of 10 times with a full Izanami team. But you know, Izanami was impossible as well, and during that time not everybody knew how to play that dungeon, especially the zombie loop, and not everybody has Margaret during that time, so that was relatively hard. And if you bring Roma, I wouldn't say that you will win more. You might win more if you know how to use Roma in Kushinada, like especially with the verticals and the horizontals and stuff like that, but I wouldn't say that you'll actually like get a higher win rate with Roma in there. So, little history lesson about Kushinada, and of course Brahma as well. And after Gilgamesh came in, and even like, yeah, pretty much after Gilgamesh came in, and people started to know how to actually play Kushinada's dungeon, Brahma basically got benched, and never to be seen until now. And Brahma is really good for like, you know, Kushinada 0. And that's basically all the impossibles. You can probably bring it to Maishi and it will do some work. I've seen people bring him to Shambhala, like basically any wood dungeon. Actually, like in Shambhala, he is relatively good, but I wouldn't bring him over like Roma or Himiko, right? But for people who don't have Roma or Himiko, then you know, you can bring him to Shambhala. Just make sure he gets that sword, and then his pump combo will basically wipe out the mobs. And then, you know, he has a Wood Slayer, and Strike Shot is relatively strong as well. And grabbing the heart with Destroyer and Sad Face Meteor. But yeah, you know, some people don't like Brahma because, you know, he's just like a buff, quote unquote, and not a new form that makes him super OP or whatever. But you know, everybody, like, if there's a lot of power creep, then it's really bad. Okay, Meteor for Yomi. I really like Yomi's Meteor, but I don't know, I don't use him that much. Like, the Meteor is really strong, like, look at that, 1.2 million. But I don't know. And I'm gonna Strike Shot, and you know, from a Monster of the Week video, you just know that the Blast Radius was really big, and 1.9 million with that, 2.5 with the Meteor, with the Poison. So that's really crazy strong. And you can probably like hit it from the other side of Kushinada and still be able to hit that weak spot with that Blast Radius. And that was the reason why, you know, Brahma was really strong. You know, he was able to do about 2 million without during his Ascendant days. Now he's just more powerful with the Transition. The explosion is more powerful, so I basically wiped out half her HP with that. So Brahma is still good and really good for Kushinada. You know, I wouldn't say he's completely better than Hanzo for this dungeon. I'm pretty sure people will like Hanzo better just because it's really fast on the mini boss stages, like the stuff that comes up to the final stage. Hanzo kind of falls off on the final stage in terms of damage when you compare it to Brahma, but you know, Brahma is kind of useless on the first few stages, as so you know, it kind of not really evens it out in terms of beating the dungeon, but well, actually, it evens it out when you're beating the dungeon, but it doesn't even out when you're going for like speed clears and stuff like that. But that's pretty much it for me. I hope you guys like and subscribe, and see you guys next time. Bye.